and expansion. They are private investors or a network of other individuals, sometimes with the family connections. They provide financing backing to small startups and entrepreneurs in exchange for ownership equity in the company. That's where the trouble is. Unlike the venture who just want a return, the angel investors want to be shareholders. And sometimes they could easily take over your business after it becomes big because they have more money than you. Getting funds from angel investors means the company does not have to return the funds. It's not interest, it's not, the money is now belongs to the business. All they want is when you make money, they'll have a shareholding out of the dividends. But then there are government grants. There is youth fund. There is women fund. Government has set up several funds where if you can give your business plan, they will give you money to run your business. And of course, the Hustler Fund is exactly doing that. It's only you have to start at a very small level and grow with the Hustler Fund. So do not say there's no money when the money is available in these sources. Or you can go directly to the bank, because the banks exist to take our money and lend it to others. So when you go to a bank manager, he's not doing you a favor. He is looking for people who can borrow the money. But of course, there are non-banking financial companies, NBFC. Non-banking financial companies have flexible loan terms and less stringent eligibility criteria. Hence, they are popular among people with urgent capital requirements or weak credit ratings. When you have a low credit rating, your interest will be higher. But if you belong to a SACCO, and the SACCOs are now open, what is SACCO? Savings and Credit Cooperative. Savings and Credit Cooperative. And they are very popular in Kenya. If you become a member of the SACCO, you are allowed to borrow in order to fund your business. And they do not charge the kind of interest that the banks charge. And you do not even require any collateral. They don't say, do you have land? Simply 3 friends sign your loan form, or 3 or 4 friends sign your loan form, and you can get money on the bill guarantee of your friends. So that's a way to borrow money, and you can actually start the business with these non-banking financial companies. And of course, there are people who are called business incubators. These are people who have started places where small businesses come. When they grow big, they leave. Business incubators. But of course, many of us in Africa know about bootstrapping. It may sometimes be difficult to get money from outside. So you just go to your cousin or to your uncle or to your whatever. The last option remains to use personal money. Yes, your own money, the savings you have been making when you are working. Or gather money from family and friends. But please listen. Self-funding can only be beneficial if the initial amount needed for the business is small. Nobody wants to risk his whole life with your idea, because he may collapse and you collapse with him. Nobody can help the other. But that's something that can be done. I want to stop there. What have we said so far? Have clear mission in life. What do you want to achieve in life? If God has called you to be a manager, don't try to become an entrepreneur. Number 2, recruit the best staff whose diversity mirrors your market. I could have spent a lot of time there. Don't employ your relatives. Because if your relatives think like you need people who are not your relatives who can think differently. Because what you are after is your employees must mirror the market. So what they are doing will be acceptable to the market. And then, number 3, picture success, that's a vision, and then prepare for it. When you talk about I will succeed, how does success look like? You should, before starting, it must be clear to you. Then picture failure and prepare for it. Anybody who assumes they can never fail is not very wise. You must assume you can fail, then ask yourself, when I fail, if not when, if I fail, will I cope? If you can't cope with the failure, don't start the business. That's an impossible risk. That's why, for example, you do not borrow money against the house you are living in. The Bible says that if you lend using somebody's bed and you refuse with the bed because they are not paid you, God will be on your case. That means he's saying it is wrong. However seriously you want to start business, do not take your parents' house where they are living and use it as a collateral to get a bank loan. No. You must be clear, picture fit, and prepare for it. Next, do an honest SWOT analysis. Number one, on yourself, and then recruit to cover your weaknesses. SWOT stands for strengths and weaknesses internally, opportunity and threat externally. If you understand them, then you know you need to employ people who can who can help you in your weak areas, or be able to tackle the threat. Please have a board of tough experts, even if they do not own your business, to act as your accountability partners and on whom you bounce ideas. Always start having 3 or 4 people whom you trust, and you can tell them, this is what I'm planning. Although it's an advisory board because they don't own anything, it will help you to not to take the wrong route. And finally, be full-time in your business, or employ one you can fully trust to run it for you. But if you are putting your eggs there, I would suggest be in the business yourself, and that will be good. Now it's question time. Let's hear your questions. We have 10 minutes before 6. You can be given the mic. Amen.
Thank you so much. Please, I have written down 4 questions. I was trying to write them out, so maybe I could just read them. The first one is, how can an entrepreneur survive and run his business successfully in a very competitive market? I'll take the second one, sir. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur who loses his business due to a fire outbreak or a robbery operation?
Repeat that question, sister.
Okay. The first one again, sir.
The first one I had. The second one.
Okay, the second one is, what advice would you give to an entrepreneur who loses his business or her business due to a fire outbreak or a robbery operation? I will take the third one, sir. What are some of the risks involved in being an entrepreneur?
Say that again.
What are some of the risks involved in being an entrepreneur?
Okay, that one I wrote a long list. So maybe you asked the question before I covered them.
I have challenges.
Okay, so my notes, you insist on getting my notes and my telephone. After you look through my notes, please WhatsApp me or send me an SMS, and this meeting can continue even after the conference. Is that okay with you, sister?
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Can I read the last one, please? It says, how can location affect an entrepreneur, and what do you advise? Thank you, sir.
I didn't quite hear that one. How can
location affect an entrepreneur, and what do you advise?
location? How can what?
Location.
Oh, location. Again, I covered it earlier, but I'll talk about it again. Let me deal with the 3 questions. Competition. Number 1, you need to be aware about the competition before starting your business. And when you are aware about your business, then you prepare your service or your product in a differentiated manner. That means, although there is something similar being produced by somebody else, there is something unique about yours. So although there is competition, they never quite get what you have. It's like, just to give you an example, Java came up with something they call dawa, which is a mixture of some fruits. And the other hotels have tried to copy, but the taste is never exactly like the Java one. People have tried to copy Coca-Cola, but they never get the taste. So the first way of dealing with competition is creating a unique service or a unique product, which is not easy for anybody to copy. Number one. Number two, it is creating loyalty with the customers. In other words, the way you treat them is so unique that even if the product were the same elsewhere, they cannot get the feel good. They cannot get the feel good idea. When they come to you, they get something, they are treated in such a way that they want to come back. And that's what you call customer loyalty. And when people are loyal to you, another supplier can come next there, but people still coming to you, although he is offering the same thing you're offering, because you are treating them in a very unique way. Thirdly and importantly, you can look for cheaper raw materials that allows you to undercut your competitors, such that you give them a good product at a cheaper price. When that happens, you have a good product and you are charging less, and the others cannot even compete because they don't know your sources of raw materials. It will be much easier for you to actually beat competition. The next question was, what happens if you had a business fire that destroyed your business? Again, I'll give you 3 suggestions. Number one, please never run a business without an insurance cover. What is insurance? Insurance is the idea of several people putting money aside but believing only one of them will get the accident. So when one of them gets accident, the money they had put aside pays for the accident, and that way the person is able to come through and the business can return to normal because he has somebody who has paid for them. Insurance, even for a Christian, because some Christians kind of imply there's something wrong. It's simply a way of putting money together to cover the risk. And there cannot be anything un-Christian about doing that. Of course, when you call it insurance, there are crooks who are in insurance. But the principle itself of 10 of us putting money aside so that when one of us gets an accident, the money you put aside will help the person, it can't be wrong. So the first thing is, did your business have a fire insurance? And I think that's important. So the first thing is, have an insurance. Number 2 is, you must ask for a fire expert to come and assess the risk of fire for your business. And actually, if you do what the fire expert is saying, the insurance company will charge you less premiums because they can see you have reduced the possibility of fire. So they are experts in fire who can actually assess your organization, your business, your factory, and show you ways of ensuring that even if there is fire, it's possible for the fire to be put out easily and not destroy your organization. And that's something that you actually need to do. Thirdly, if you do not have the first 2 and your business has grounded to a halt, this is the right time to go for angel investment. You can produce proof that the business was making money. So you can go for other people to say, my business is gone. I know what I can do to ensure the fire is not repeated, but I know it makes money. Come and give me money that can help to sort out the issue. The third question is on location. For sure, location can destroy your business. For example, why is anybody going to come to you and bypass other suppliers near them when you have located yourself far away from where the customers are? So the location can actually kill, such that you have a good product, you have a good service, but you're asking people to pay extra transport costs to come to where you are. You end up with very few customers and you'll soon be grounded. And that's something that can do. Number 2, location is also the question of not just customers, but of suppliers. Especially if your products are requiring heavy materials, the transport costs of bringing the materials to where you are may eat all your profit margins, and you will not be able to compete with others. So in determining where you want to place your business, it's not just the customers you think about. You also think about the sources of raw material for making the product or the service. And you need to be where the costs of transportation are not much higher. And I think that's important in deciding location. But thirdly, you can locate a business where the rent, the lease, is so expensive that the kind of rent you're having to pay eats into your profit margin and your business will collapse. So you must think about what the cost of investing in this area. It may be near customers, it may be near raw materials, but are the kind of charges such that I would rather be far away and be transporting my goods rather than pay the kind of rent or lease fees that are actually required. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next one. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We are really grateful. You know, this kind of lecture is what people pay a lot of money for. I'm sure you don't do that in Kenya. You pay a lot of money for this kind of lecture. But we are very grateful, sir. So if you still have more questions, write it down. You can forward it to him. And of course, hearing him is willing to mentor you further. So we will give you his number so you can be able to further this discussion. And if you want to organize another time physically, you can reach out to him. I'm sure he'll be willing to come physically to do more training for you. Pastor can go further to that. Thank you again, sir. Thank you. Now,
Kwaheri. I hope by now you know Kwaheri means goodbye.
Our time has gone, but it will just take some time. He has been on since 5:30 your time. So can we have you, Dr. Imajo has many businesses, and he's also a pastor, he's a missionary, and he's a chartered accountant. So he will just give you some insight about starting a business